everything from how to walk, how to speak, how to think, how to do everything. And it's been really difficult for me. And I'm not giving up ever.
Life can hit like a sledgehammer. But guess what? We hit back harder. Welcome to Affirm That Sh. Somehow I thrived. I'm Jennifer Rogers, your no BS guide to turning life's toughest moments into badass victories. Ready to flip the script? Let's affirm that life can be a bitch, but somehow we thrive. Welcome to today's episode of Affirm That Shit. And do we have a special treat for you today? Not one, but two guests. That's right, two guests that have walked through the shit together. A mother-daughter dynamic duo team leading us through Jennifer's story and Caryn, her mother, showing us how she supported, uplifted, and continues to carry the light of hope today. They'll be joining us in just a moment, but as usual, we're going to kick off with affirmations written specifically for Jennifer and Caryn. And I invite you to say these affirmations with me. So if you are in a space and a place where you can take a moment, take a deep breath in, close your eyes, let that breath out, and repeat after me. I am grateful for the strength within me that never gives up. I am grateful for the strength within me that never gives up. I am grateful for the strength within me that never gives up. I celebrate the progress I've made and embrace the healing still unfolding. I celebrate the progress I've made and embrace the healing still unfolding. I celebrate the progress I've made and embrace the healing still unfolding. I am living proof that hope is the seed of everything new. It is what carried me then and continues to shine light on my path now. I am living proof that hope is the seed of everything new. It is what carried me then and continues to shine light on my path now. I am living proof that hope is the seed of everything new. It is what carried me then and continues to shine light on my path now. After this quick break, you'll meet Jennifer and Caryn. Stay with us.
Imagine a space where you let go, where the clamor of the world quiets and you meet your truest self. At Yu-Gi-Oh!, through sound vibrations, Reiki, and the wisdom of tarot, we help you release what no longer serves you, align with your energy, and renew your spirit. Begin your journey back to yourself today.
Welcome to the show, Jennifer and Caryn. Thank you for joining me today on Affirm That Shit.
Thank you for having us.
We are honored to be here.
Oh, lovely. I am so excited. You are the first guest I've had on that I've not had a pre-call with. So I am learning your story as you're sharing it today. I know just a little bit about you, but I am so excited to hear your story, Jennifer, and then from you, Caryn, your perspective of how you've played a role in this shit storm that has been dealt with.
Why don't you start off, Jen?
Okay.
And describe it.
Okay. When I was turning 31, I suffered a massive brain bleed out of the blue. I had no indication this would happen to me. It was completely out of left field. I was in perfect health. I went from like walking completely on my own the day before to like not being able to do that at all. And I was independent. I was living my life as like a 30-year-old. It was 3 days before my 31st birthday when this happened. And left frontal lobe of your brain governs right side motor function and speech and cognition. So I had to relearn everything. I had to relearn every fucking thing. Everything. From how to walk, how to speak, how to think, how to do everything. And it's been really difficult for me. And I'm not giving up ever.
How long ago was this, Jennifer?
Or 3.5 years ago, it happened in August of 2021.
August 2021, right before your birthday.
Yeah, August 18th, and my birthday is 21st.
Right, it happened on August 18th. Jen's birthday is the 21st, and Jen had been in perfect health, completely perfect. She would work out, she would hike, she was very active.
Independent and active.
Right, she was, as I would say, she was a badass.
I
A
was.
real badass.
I was.
Yes.
She started a business out of her college dorm. And when she graduated, took that business, and it was an aromatherapy business where she created her own products in our basement.
Yeah.
And sold them across the country.
Yeah.
She was in stores in Aspen, in New
Yeah.
York City,
Across the country.
and she also was doing motivational speaking
Yeah.
on wellness.
And that's why the stroke was so devastating, because it like literally took my ability to like speak away. I had to really fucking speak from the ground up.
Right. So, so basically what happened was that Jen was in perfect health, went to work, and at that point was working in my family business, which is
where we are right now.
right. And what happened was about 9:15 in the morning, I got a call from the general manager who said something is very wrong with Jen.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? Because Jen, she would meditate every morning. She would basically go out and go to the beach and see the sunrise, or very much
I was
into
very independent and into nature and spirituality and higher consciousness and all the things that make me spiritual and a woman.
right. Okay, and so goes to work, and the manager calls and says Jen is not right. And Jen's dad, my husband, is a doctor who is board certified in emergency medicine. And
Oh, wow.
so he happened to have been home that day and receives the call, hears the call, and said, I'm going to go and see what's up. This sounds pretty weird. And by the time he got to the store, which is 10 minutes from where we live, the GM, general manager, had called me back and said, listen, Jen is not right. You have to call an ambulance. And I actually heard her have her stroke, which basically sounded like, like an animal being gored, like a bull being killed with, and so I raced over, and basically the ambulance was there, and we got Jen to the hospital. And initially, the neurosurgeon said that he thought it was multiple bleeds in Jen's brain. And he said, if that's the case, I'm not going to be able to save her. And he said, I'm going to go in and do an angiography, and I'll be back in about 45 minutes. And so he left, and we were sitting there completely incredulous and completely, it was just like another, like, a complete out of body experience, to be hearing that Jen, who the day before was doing
I had been
kickboxing,
in perfect health.
right, So about 10 minutes later, the door opens and he comes racing back in. And I think, she's gone. She's dead. She's died. She's passed. And he sees us and he says, okay, I've got some good news and not good news. He said, the good news is that it's not what I think it is. And the not so good news is I think what it is what's called a cavernous malformation, which is like a little
Cluster.
of blood vessels that somehow landed on her artery in her brain and exploded and it burst. And he said, so I think if it's that, and I think I will be able to surgically get at that. The problem is that there is so much blood in her brain right now that, and as brain is in her brain, as the blood remains, it sort of is killing off all of the healthy brain matter and brain tissue. And if she rebleeds before I get it, she will die. And so what then we launched into this 10 days, this hellacious 10 days of trying to keep Jen alive, get the blood out of her brain, and basically get her to the point where she would be able to have the surgical procedure. As part of that, they had to actually cut open her skull to give the brain room to expand. And so ultimately, the bleeding stopped, the bleeding drained, the surgery was done, and the cavernous malformation was removed. And so then our frame of mind moved from will she live or will she die to what will Jen be left with? Who is Jen?
Right.
Who
Who is she?
Yeah.
will I be?
Who will she be? You know, she'd been a motivational speaker before, very smart, really, like very like snarky and, and funny and witty and
Sounds like very authentic. No question about if you know Jen, you are getting the full
Yes.
Jen.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Right. And so will Jen be snarky? And will Jen be able to express herself? Will she be able to write and speak? And what will her memories be? Will she have memories? Will she? And so the focus then shifted to this unknown. Okay. And how do we navigate this unknown? And how do we try to stay in the present and not freak out about this unknown because things will be revealed over time. And we have no
Exactly.
power at that moment to know what would be revealed.
Yeah.
And so there were certain lessons that we were learning and certain skills that we utilized, which
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had, to try to
Be
navigate this.
Navigate the
Yes.
And so when Jen finally came out of this, she was completely paralyzed on the right side of her body. She could not walk. She could not use her right arm. Cognitively, she was a mess. She could not speak. She could not express herself. She couldn't think. She didn't know what day it was. She didn't know what year it was. She didn't know how much time had passed.
I didn't know how old I was.
She didn't know how old she was. She didn't know how to play tic-tac-toe. She didn't know what an iPad was. She tried to pet her sister's corgi through the iPad. And so the terror for me of like, oh my Lord, how are we going to get back? And for Jen, once she started to be able to speak, there was this terror at the fact that her brain was so profoundly jumbled. And she didn't know, it was, I
How
sort
to
of,
communicate clearly. I didn't really know like how to think. I did not know how to think.
right. And so,
And can I ask you, Jen, when all this is going on, because your mom is seeing it from outside perspective, and so she's getting all of this, but here you are, you're trapped in this body
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And so and I know you say thinking was hard. I couldn't put the thoughts together. I couldn't move. What were you feeling during that time?
I don't really even know, to be honest. I have no idea what I was feeling because I was not able to like really feel anything.
well, so from my
I was not
perspective,
aware of what I was feeling.
right, Jen, the more she came to herself, the more terrified and anxious she became, because the things that were intuitive to her and easy were out of reach,
Yeah.
and she didn't understand
What
why.
happened?
Why is my memory so messed up?
Mhm.
Why am I not able to
Mhm.
understand,
These
like, how to
things.
use a brush?
Yeah.
Anything,
Yeah.
anything.
Anything. And so initially once I realized the extent of her loss of memory and place, I got a calendar and I tried to do as much as I could to orient her. And so she had thought that her stroke had happened 5 years ago. Literally. And so I basically got a huge calendar. I brought it in and I said, this is the day of your stroke.
It had been a month before.
Right.
A month.
This is like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, not 5 years.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it was just the areas of memory loss, and it was so weird. It was completely inconsistent how she would remember, like, the name of one of her closest college friends' dog. She
Yeah.
remembered the nickname for the dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, who, what? And yet she didn't remember how she had met her fiance. Okay. And so it was, for Jen, it was absolutely terrifying. And Jen has always been able to self-soothe. Jen has always believed in
The body's ability to
visualizations.
heal.
Right.
Yeah.
Visualizations, meditation, spirituality.
Affirmations.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm right there with you, Jen. You were right on that cusp of that Leo Virgo personality. Yes. So you're 8/22, I'm 8/31. And so
Actually, 8/21.
you're 8/21 and I'm 8/31. There we go. There we go. So
So-
I understand that. I wonder if I can ask, and I want to ask you both this question because you're both experiencing this at different levels, different perspectives, different whys.
Yeah.
I want to talk about grief for just a moment.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to present the question to both of you, but for Jen, are you handling that grief of who you were and who you are today? How did you handle that? How did you navigate it? And then same thing for you, Caryn. Where was your grief in that process of this is who my daughter was yesterday and this is
Want to go first, Jen?
I think you should go first, actually, because you have a better answer than I have.
Okay. So, as Jen started to come back, and it was sort of like a computer repopulating icons, okay? Although the icons were in weird places and some were missing. And you'd never know when one would pop up, surprisingly. And so for me, on the one hand, I tried to navigate two different things simultaneously. On the one hand, I tried to meet Jen where she was, meaning when Jen, and I'll get back to the question. When Jen when she got home from rehab and we would sit every day and talk and decided to write this, her first words were, I am glad to be alive.
Grateful. I
I'm
am
grateful to be alive. From
I
there,
am.
grateful to
be
be
alive.
alive. And that was something I wrote down. Okay,
Yeah.
because it was, and
Remarkable.
Amanda said to me,
My sister.
she said, how could she be grateful? This is like the worst thing that could ever happen. How could she be grateful? But she was truly grateful.
Yeah.
And she came out of this with a sense of gratitude and that this happened and I'm going to make the most of this and I'm going to share this story and try to help other people. And so there was that, okay, and Jen's positivity and her energy and her commitment to pushing herself every single day. And I was not going to take anything away from that. I needed to meet that.
Yeah.
I needed to support that. And I was in grief. Okay. Because my snarky, badass daughter, who was she? Was she going to be creating product in our basement? Was she going to be speaking motivationally? Was she going to be able to drive ever again? Okay. And so I struggled with losing Jen's old brain. And I got really sad and really depressed. And it was almost like there was no space for me to be able to share that loss, because when I would say, I'm feeling like I miss the old Jen, okay? And they'd say, oh, look at this new Jen, and it was almost like there was no place for me. I didn't have the right. I didn't have the space to mourn. Okay. And yes, this new Jen is incredible. And in certain ways, a better Jen than the earlier Jen in terms of emotional development and maturity, because a lot of the stuff, her defenses that she had formed when she was younger, growing up and was dealing with friends who teased and what have you, floated away. And so
Gone.
gone. And so so that's gone. So she is real and next to me, and that's incredible and beautiful. And yet it was like, how did I have the right to miss that other Jen, the jaded Jen? And basically what happened was I wrote a piece on Jen's old brain. I write short stories, okay? And it basically then became a piece for the college. My husband and I went to Brandeis University in Waltham, Massachusetts, and I ended up submitting that piece and they published it. And it was basically how I came to terms with the loss of Jen's brain. And so I was able to process it. And now I don't have that pain anymore. I don't have it. Jen, you go.
That release of getting it out.
Yeah.
It was just permitting an
Yes.
acknowledgement of it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I still struggle to accept it, but I have to. I have no other choice. What am I going to do? There's no other path. The only out is through. And it's a struggle, but I accept it. That's my best of my ability.
But there were some really cool things that happened. First of all, Jen, when we speak, we will speak at like bookstores and do events. And there's this affirmation that Jen has written, which we don't have here. It's incredible. Talking about, do you remember any of it?
I'm a walking miracle. I am becoming a miracle. My slow steps are,
You're leaning on your,
no, my small steps lead to big results.
And, and so when Jen was home recovering, she asked me to put together, to record an affirmation for her, a visualization that she would play every morning. And so Jen loves lavender and she loves roses. Her middle name is Rose. And so I put together this visualization of Jen walking in this white summery dress, holding roses, walking through a field of lavender, walking.
Yes.
And the wind and the sun. And so I recorded this, and every morning when Jen woke up, she put it on. And then over time, she would ask me, apparently in the first visualization, I forgot to put shoes on Jen. So that I had to go redo it and add, and change it up a bit. But, like for me, I just marveled at how Jen would use these tools. And does and continues to use these tools of positive psychology, these tools of
spirituality
Yes.
and positive psychology.
And it's right. I mean, I'm, sort of a cynical type and
Sort of.
Okay, so but
There's the snarky Jen we've been hearing about.
yeah, there she
She's coming
is.
out. She is here. She
Yeah,
is here.
yeah, she's arrived. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's been amazing.
Jennifer, I really resonate with you in that, and taking it back to what you know and leaning in and having that vision every morning. And you said it, my small steps. So it was important that you had your shoes on in this vision to make that step. It's important to honor your belief. And I'm right there with you that we can heal our bodies.
Yes.
There are sometimes in your experiences and in many others that something happened out of our control. But even when you were questioning, I can't move, I can't even put a thought together, your body went back to what you had been training it for 31 years.
Yep, exactly.
And if that's not spirituality and intuition, somebody's read the wrong book.
Exactly. Like, I think this was meant to happen to me. I really believe that. I believe this was supposed to happen because I wanted to be a motivational speaker. And then I'm called to speak about. So that's why it's happened.
Yes. Because look at the worlds that you're bringing together. You're bringing two worlds that typically meet each other with you, Caryn, with cynicism. We talk about the hospital and we've got to follow these strategic things and we've got to go this way. And we know those of us that are spiritual, we believe in that healing technique, whether it's through tapping, whether it's through aromatherapy, whether it's through Reiki, whether it is, breathing techniques. And so you have just collided two worlds and shown the power that you have when you're open and you're receptive.
Exactly. Thank you.
I appreciate you both so much for being here today. I know that people are going to want to book with you. They're going to want to hear more about you when they see this, when they hear this. Would you share with us how they can make contact with you? And then also for you, Caryn, how can we get this book? How can we get our hands on it? So share all those details with us.
Okay. So in the faceofcatastrophe.com is our website. And I'm on social media at Jennifer Rose Goldman. Instagram, YouTube,
Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook, Jennifer Rose Goldman.
Right. And so the book, In the Face of Catastrophe, and I like to joke because we were going to call the book The Gift. But then the publisher said, no, you can't call it The Gift.
It's too generic.
It's too generic. And so I like to say that we shortened it. Okay. And so now the name is In the Face of Catastrophe, How a Traumatic Brain Injury Became a Blessing. And the book is available wherever books are sold. There's ebooks available. There are ebooks available, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, your favorite bookstore, you name it.
Yeah.
You can grab it.
We can get it.
Yeah.
And we'll be sure to put your links and that information in our show notes too, so that it's easy for those to make contact with you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And, let me just say this last thing. The book is, the subject matter precisely is Jen's brain bleed, but the lessons in the book
Are universal
right,
and beyond my brain bleed.
right,
Like the power of presence, the power of positivity, the power of gratitude.
the power of shaping your own reality,
Yes.
taking
Yes.
charge when you feel like
Shaping your
there's,
narrative.
when you feel like there's nothing that you have control over.
Yep.
You absolutely do. You
Yeah.
absolutely do. Because I am in control, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I am in control. Thank you both for your time with us today and for sharing your beautiful story, Jen. Caryn, for sharing your perspective of a mother that was full on right back in to lift and carry. Thank you both.
Thank you
so
guys.
much.
You just took another step towards owning your story and thriving against all odds. This is Affirm That Sh. Somehow I thrived. If you're ready to keep kicking ass, subscribe now and let's keep breaking barriers together. Remember, life's a battle, but somehow you'll thrive.